Hello there, my name is Joshua. Welcome to the mindset portion of the homeostasis diet. Down below, there's going to be a series of videos that are going to go a little bit more in depth to the topics that I'm about to present to you here. So first of all, I want to give you a very clear understanding on how I interpret mindset. The way that I look at it is that we have internal vibrational energy that has been passed down generation to generation in the form of thought to one another, where you hear me speak, but it's not really what you hear, it's what you've heard because that's what you're hearing, and it's not what you see, it's what you've seen because that's what you're seeing. Like, you have no idea where I am unless you've been here before. So I'd like to just address the first thing is what mindset means to me. So mindset is that set amount of circumstances that have been energetically passed down. It's all vibrational frequencies. Light is a vibrational energy. My voice is a vibrational energy. You may or may not be listening with your inner voice turned off or on. You may not even be aware of that inner voice that we have inside of us. I was 24 years old before I realized I could do this. Just consciously breathe and calm myself down, and whoa. So I started in a place of darkness, and through never giving up, I believe I found a form of light. So, and light is not just sight, so it's not what you see, it's what you know about what you see, because that's how you feel. So when you start to determine that the circumstances that have been presented to you are the circumstances that you're going to look for in reality, like if you suffered, you're going to look for suffering regardless if you want to have suffering or not. And until you become aware that you are suffering, that's the only time where change begins. So I lived an entire reality where I was suffering. I was eating all the wrong foods and literally just chalking it up. Every single thought that I had about the way reality worked was not true at all. So I come from a place of being in the most darkest light, where I literally had no idea what was right or wrong, because as I was learning, everything that I did was actually wrong. So I just questioned everything in reality at that point. So when you decide to change your mindset, you have to realize the things that you're fixed on believing that you do not change or challenge, which would be like putting your shoes on because you're going outside, or putting clothes on when you go out to the store to go grocery shopping. Those are fixed parts of reality that you're not going to change. The unfixed parts of reality would be, who do you want to be in a relationship with? How happy are you today that you woke up and went to the place that you generate income from? The non-fixed questions are the ones that I want to be paying attention to. The fixed questions I have no interest in. So if you're here thinking that we're about to contemplate reality and, wander around naked in the woods and chew on tree branches, that this isn't the place for you. But if you're the person that wants to look at the subjective parts of reality that are mendable and moldable to the thoughts that you have, you're going to be able to do that. So first topic here is understanding meditation, right? So all of these things that you're experiencing, you may be aware of them, you may not be aware of them. So the first thing that I'm going to introduce you to, and we're going to talk about in the first video, is meditating an hour every single day for an entire year at least. And this hour would be in the middle of your day when your brain activity is at its highest, so you can drop it back down to its lowest. So this ability to float in your brain waves is really important for understanding what vibrational energy that you were given. Like, am I sitting here by myself by a tree meditating and thinking about like some girl that I met, or how angry I am, or how unhappy I am? The most important thing to do and focus on is understand the thoughts that you're thinking. Because energetically, we've been taught a thought, and now we're thinking that thought, and those thoughts have been passed down generation after generation without question. For instance, it's like 50-something out here, and the wind's blowing, and it feels beautiful. I used to think that, oh my gosh, put a coat on, it's cold outside, you'll get sick. So once you start to become more aware of the voice inside of your mind and what it is saying about the world that you are a part of, we are co-creators. As everyone says, this world is becoming more conscious, but I disagree. You're becoming conscious of how unconscious everybody else is. And this mass unconsciousness that you're revealed to is where you now know better, and something that has improved the quality of your life 100 times over is something that you want to pass to somebody else. By the way, I'm still explaining the way that I view the world and my mindset works. So that's why I've created all of this, because I was one of those people that were very unhealthy, unhappy, and angry. And then when you pay attention to the things that improve the quality of your life, which is usually the opposite of the life that you're living, where it comes down to accepting that somebody else's reality actually is better than your own. Because when I look back at the reality that I created for myself, that reality was shit. It was literal shit. Like, I was poor, struggling, sick, and uneducated. but that was the reality that I believed in, so I would protect that reality. And anytime somebody came in and said, hey, maybe do this, I would completely ignore that information. So when you are trying to change your mindset, meditating is your beginning, where you're literally doing nothing. So you're having to train yourself that it's okay to do nothing, which is where we're constantly absorbed in these set of circumstances that we have been energetically attracted to. And those set of circumstances that we are attracted to, we will literally do whenever our minds would go to a place of like rumination, or when you start to let your mind wander, it finds something that will help you feel better. So it puts you in front of that. For me, it was video games at one point in time, where anytime I had free time, I'd be playing video games. There was no spend time with myself. I did everything to not spend time with myself. So the very first thing, that if you are interested in mindset, please meditate. Just sit down with yourself. I say an hour because I read information about meditating longer, more than 15 or 10 minutes. 10 or 15 minutes just seems like a little bit of a cop-out to me. But, start wherever you want to start. I directly started with an hour. My head would nod. We'll talk about that in the video down below. So step one, if you're trying to change your mindset, get into meditation. It's one of the most important things that you're ever going to be able to use to like format the quality of your life. Like, how do you know something's wrong until you are aware of the something that's wrong, and then you're aware enough of what is wrong to find what is right, and then accept what is right, and then change your life for that specific pattern of thought. Like, I was not this person that you see right now because I didn't accept other people's streams of consciousness, and I did not allow them to supersede my own. I literally thought I knew it all. So once you start to go through the world and you surrender to the fact that you don't know it all, then there are things about yourself that you do not know, and those things that you don't know about yourself could be the reason why you would be where you are if you are in a version of suffering in any way, shape, or form. Why doesn't a person eat healthy? They haven't learned eating healthy. They haven't tried eating healthy, and they haven't felt the compare and contrast between how bad reality actually is and how good reality could be. And then once you learn how good reality could be, the thing that keeps you from going back is knowing how good reality actually is. So it's that little transition from being in a place that you don't like to a place that's just kind of neutral to the place that you actually wanted to be. And then you have that scale to compare and contrast of what mindset, what energetics you've been given, now how they make sense to you as you age forward. Because the things that I thought at 22, I do not think at 32. So I can only assume by that correlation, the thoughts that I have at 32 will not be the thoughts that I think at 42. So the best case scenario is to understand the thoughts that you're having now. This is your set of understanding that you use to go through the universe, and then recognize and basically just avoid delusions. Back in when I was 22, I thought doing X meant Y, and I would experience a feeling from that. When at 32, I look back to 22 experiencing that experience, and I say, holy delusional. How the heck did I even do that with my life? Because it has no value, makes no sense, and it is not good for anybody involved. So, number one, meditate. Now, number two, this one a lot of people might not like. But if you're trying to reprogram the mind, look at subconscious affirmations. Once again, doing nothing, that hour with yourself, you're doing nothing. This next hour, or actually 8 hours, if you're sleeping 8 hours, read the book called Why We Sleep. This next 8 hours you're spending with yourself, you're going to be listening to subconscious affirmations when you sleep at night. This is where our brains go into a programmable phase. You can learn about Bruce Lipton, age 1 through 7. Our brains are in a completely hypnotic state. When we're sleeping, our brains re-enter that hypnotic state. The reason for meditations, having a higher plasticity, being more aware of the thoughts that we're experiencing on a day. So if you meditate that hour every single day, you listen to the subconscious affirmations every single night, you can choose to conclude upon 45 or 63 days before something will take its toll, which would be Habits of a Happy Brain, or the book called The One Thing. It's Gary Keller and Elizabeth Epple and something Blackburn. Forget the names, so I apologize on that. But you would check out, that's the telomere effect. My bad. I'm so used to giving that name. But you would check out The One Thing, Gary Keller. And then Habits of a Happy Brain, it's by Loretta something. That's why I got it mixed up, because one's an L and blah. So meditate, listen to your subconscious affirmations, and then the last most important thing to do, and this is what I'm going to leave you with, and this is where you start to recognize where you're actually at, and then you recognize to yourself where you want to be, and then you recognize to yourself how you actually get there. So obviously, you can see there's a timer set on here. So I just can't make this stuff up. This is a timer that goes off every half hour. This timer for me gives me a clear representation of what I decided to do in that half hour. So I know within this half hour period that I decided to drive out to the forest because I just wanted to disconnect a little bit. I wanted to get this video done because I wanted to start the mindset portion of the homeostasis diet page, which is the page that you would be on if you're watching this video. You might be on YouTube, click the link down below. But this is something that I wanted to get done, and I still have 8 minutes and 24 seconds from leaving my home, arriving in the forest, sitting down, recording the video, messing up a few times, and then recognizing that it's okay because I'm always going to mess up. So this is never going to be perfect. I can always make it better, but I have to recognize that sometimes what I'm saying is the best that I could possibly be saying right now because I'm saying it. And as I say things, I would say them as I'm trying to say them to myself because I can only understand the things that I know. So in reverse order, what you would do is you would wake up in the morning, set that timer, start consciously breathing air. Go through your day, and if you're into the other mechanics that we teach on the health page about fasting, you have that hour for your lunch free. Now you have time to meditate, so you get your hour meditation in there. Hopefully you exercise, you follow all the other important things about health, and then when you go to bed, you start playing those subconscious affirmations. So I've just effectively introduced you into 3 things that take a very minimal amount of your time that you're going to be able to use to apply to your life to determine where your mind actually is. Like once you recognize the problems that you think you have, which you can say that nobody has problems, the world is great and we're all whatever. But when you recognize that like you want more and you don't have that more, what stands in your way? It's you. It was me. It's literally only us versus ourselves and the way that we view the world, just because that initial energy that we've received growing up has taught us all of our thoughts that we're thinking. And until we learn to address those thoughts that we've been thinking and understand what those thoughts are that we were thinking and what they tell us about the world that we live in, we can never actually change because we think that the problem is outside of us, but it's what is outside of us is only because of what is inside of us. Like I know where I am. I know what I'm about to go do next. You don't. So you know what you're about to do next. I don't. But what I would hope you do next is take the advice, check out the information that we're going to have down below for you, and apply it to your life. Because if you're listening to something, there's going to be roughly 3 things that we experience. And this is back to my mindsets that I would love to help you with. And it is in the program as well. We have another mindset coach too, from the female perspective. So you get the male and the female, because I only know what I know and I don't know what I don't know, and I don't know what it's like to be a female and live that life and have to create a mindset around that reality. So what I look at is simple. When you first experience something, you might say, oh, because you really don't have like an ability to connect it to your reality because you haven't been experiencing it. So like when somebody speaks of fasting, they're like, oh, I've heard of that. When somebody that has been fasting for years hears of fasting, they're like, oh yeah, I do that all the time. So they get it from a different perspective. So when you first start with the information, you might say, oh, because you don't understand the applications to your reality. If you decide to continue to learn the information and apply it to your reality, you will hopefully hit that moment that you say, where you recognize that that information has some sort of application, but you're not quite sure what it is yet. You've only experienced it for a little bit. And then eventually you hit that aha moment where you finally fully recognize and understand the value of what's been being presented to you. So like my traditional stream of thought was when I heard about brain-derived neurotrophin factor or meditation, I said, what? Like meditate? I was like, and that this thing like, it's not like the Indian cultures do that stuff. Like I had no idea what it was. So I said, huh? Like what is this? And then once I learned about it, I said, oh, that's what this is. And then once I tried it, I said, okay, that's what it's like. And then once I hit that moment, I think it was like 20 some days into it, that I just felt that zen. And I say, find zen, never stress again. Once I found that, I said, whoa. I said, this is why people do it. You feel so calm and collected and not afraid of anything. Obviously a bear you'd be scared of, but like the common things that give you anxiety, just... So welcome to the mindset portion of the program. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff that's going to add value to your life, and if you don't believe it adds value to your life, then read the books, check out the rest of the information. I'm going to go for a walk, so you have a beautiful day. Still there? I would be too, right? Because I usually wait for videos to end. But, you know, how did I know you're going to be here still? Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. But anyways, no. Yeah, I come from a really, 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 really messed up home. And really messed up life because of that messed up home. I just didn't have the tools and resources to like do anything about the life that I had. Like, I just was resourceless. Like, I had no comprehension. I'm like, and then didn't, I never learned new things that, like, challenged me. I would just ignore them. So please do as you please to do on here, and check out the information. Try it out yourself. All I'm asking for in reality is like 2 months of a person's life to try these things. Set the timer and recognize when you forget to set the timer because your brain goes back into its reality. And when that timer goes off, focus on where you are, where you want to be, and how do you expect to get there. And it's all simple. It's all compounding interest. Time plus energy equals space. If you're here and you want to be there, invest the time, generate that energy, you will traverse that space with that new energy and exist in that new reality that you wanted to be in. So if you're interested in any way, shape, or form of working with me, there's going to be a link down below where you can book a call. The reset button program will be linked at the bottom of this page. It's at the bottom of every page. And if you look at the other pages, you'll realize that this page is going to have a large amount of information on it, because I like to give people the information that had me find what I have found, in hopes that you can go find it too, and the version that you find is maybe in some way similar to mine. Because I believe a reality where a person is free and not worried about other people's thoughts is probably one of the most important things that you can find, because then you truly feel free. You don't feel held back by the fact that you can't speak out loud and there's someone over there that may or may not be listening to you. So when you recognize that this is your life that you're living, and as we all know, it will one day end, I hope that would be a motivating factor, that it is literally limitless and you can do absolutely anything that you've ever wanted to do. So just go do it. And in order to do it, you need to know how to do it. So welcome to the homeostasis diet, where you realize that diet's not just food, it's information. And the program has health, has wealth, and has the mindset to help you get there. So yeah, everything you see is something that I wish existed that didn't exist when I needed it the most. And now it exists for you. So there's no more excuse left. The information that you need to get started is going to be down below. There's more of it on the internet. And remember, I am but a stepping stone in your reality. So master the master, and then you have that piece of your part of life that's mastered, and then you can go on and be who you want to be with a little bit of mastery from me, or whatever the hell, whatever. See you in the videos down below. Have a beautiful day.